Well friends, how should we start this video today? Other than I finally hit the $100,000 dividend portfolio mark. I mean, a lot has changed. I'll just start with that. I've been investing in this portfolio for over 4 years now. I guess the most recent news, we got a new president again. But in my personal life, a lot has happened. I'm going to show you guys a little clip here of when I hit the $10,000 mark. And this was me back in Cabo. I don't say it in the video, but this was me over 4 years ago. Just excited about this journey. How's it going, everybody? My name is Jesse, and I'm the creator of this channel, Continues to Tick. I'm 25 years old. I work as a registered nurse in a correctional facility, so there's quite a bit of interesting people there. But I like thinking about the future. I like planning for the future. If you've been following my channel at all, you know I'm growing a dividend growth portfolio, and we just dipped our toe into a really nice milestone recently, and I'm looking forward to bringing it to you guys. And that's life, friends. You know, if I have to look back and create a list and see everything that's changed since the last time, of everything that's happened since then. I mean, I've moved 3 times. I've moved from an apartment to a house for the first time to a slightly bigger house. And then now my partner's going back to graduate school to become a therapist, and we might have to downsize back to an apartment. I hit multiple milestones, as you guys know, from 10 to 20, 30, 40, and so on, right? Every $10,000 we'd hit a milestone. I've changed jobs. Before when I first started this portfolio, I had just started at the prison, at the California State Prison. Now I work as a nurse consultant, and I was dreaming of an opportunity to potentially work from home. And now I actually get to do that. In addition to that, I've traveled to multiple places. I've gone to Puerto Vallarta. I've gone to Cabo multiple times. I've taken my family to Cabo for the first time, and that was like our very first trip. I've gone to Manchester, California, gone an oceanside Airbnb with the amazing view and with the memory I'll take to the grave. I will never forget that, being able to see my family react to that door opening and seeing the ocean from the front door. And then now later this year, we're actually going to Cancun for the first time, because I think we all have a dream trip. My parents' dream trip was being able to take them to Cancun. And my dad's approaching 70, my mom's about 66, so I don't know how many more opportunities there will be. Maybe there will be more, but if you got an opportunity now, it's better to take it. Life isn't guaranteed. I've also gotten another dog. We started with Archie, and now we actually got Jet. Archie's about 4 years, so roughly around the same time I started this portfolio, I got Archie. And then about 6 months ago now, we got Jet. My partner and I actually signed for domestic partnership as well, and now we've been together for 8 years. And our life continues. And that's how it goes, friends. I just wanted to give you guys a recap, because I don't know how else to just make this a more meaningful milestone, because it is. And as you guys know, with this type of milestone video, I just go more in depth than typically. So I'll tell you how much I fund my portfolio and how often. I'll give you guys an update on that. I'll speak on my sector allocations and percentages. I'll show you that. I'll also show you guys my dividend portfolio's current yield, as well as my current expense ratio. And I'll also talk about short and long-term plans for the portfolio. And of course, I'm going to show you guys how much a $100,000 dividend portfolio pays you in dividends. And then towards the end of the video, friends, I'm going to speak on some quick thoughts on reaching the 100K mark. So let's begin. So here we are, friends, at $100,239.50. It's just going to become more and more of a mouthful as we move forward, isn't it? This is on the all-time charts, friends. You could see, for you guys that are new, or just as a refresher, I started this portfolio back in July of 2020. And ever since then, I've just been investing and been going at it very systematically. At the beginning, I was so excited, so ambitious. Life hadn't happened as much as it's happened for me now. So, I was young. I was making a good amount of money as a nurse, newly into the workforce. My expenses were a lot lower. My desire for certain things in life was lower. And I was investing $500 every single week. And ever since I had to kind of dip away from that, I've always been hoping to get back to it. So I'm still hoping for the day when I can get back to somewhere around that, which was about $2,000 a month. And, I'm hoping to get back there at some point. But early on, that was the funnel. Now at this present moment, it's actually frozen. I actually am not funding anything. And I'll speak on that and, kind of where I stand with that as I get a little bit later into the video. Regardless, the portfolio has still been moving up and reinvesting its own dividends. I have the drip activated, if you're wondering. You'll see how much I get paid in dividends each year later on in the video as well, and that is what I'm currently funding. at the moment. And it's been like that for about 2 months now. I know my goal was initially 1, we're at 2, so I'll speak on it as we go into the video today. But as far as like the last month's performance, I think it was my last video where I kind of showed you guys, oh, we hit the 100K mark, but then we dipped right back. Well, boom, now we're right back up again. And that's the little divot here that happened that time around. And as you just experience a portfolio, you're going to get these divots. Honestly, they're just buying opportunities. Like if I had cash, if I had powder on the side, I would have bought right here for sure. I just didn't believe that the market was going down. I just saw it as a buying opportunity, but I'm very dry. But hopefully some of you guys were able to take advantage of the opportunity, and especially with now the presidential election candidate selected, right? I think there'll be more stability moving forward into the markets, but we'll have to wait and see. And this is a 1-year chart compared to the all-time. This is the year to date, and I don't really like reading my data from this bottom here. The one thing I do like reading is just all time. I do have earned dividends of $7,355. So money that wasn't mine technically to begin with, of $7,355 has been given to me from this portfolio. People have their own thoughts about it. I imagine because we're all dividend investors here, we see that as a really good thing. I know I do. It's my strategy. Another statistic I want to show you guys is actually here in the unrealized gain. So my cost basis of a $100,000 dividend portfolio is $72,000. This was an unrealized gain percentage of 39%. So my portfolio over time with the dividends, everything has given me back 39% over the course of 4 years or so. And that's pretty good. I really have no complaints on that. A little bit later in the video, we'll talk about dividend income, but I'm not going to use this calculator from M1. I've been noticing some discrepancies, and I'm going to go back to my app, at least for today's video, and show you how much my dividend makes me from the app that I use. It's called Div Tracker, if you're curious. And then just going back to the portfolio here, we're still on the all-time. Let's take a look down below. And as we're coming here, I just want to tell you guys, if you want to look at my pie a little bit more at your own pace, your own leisure, as I like to say, there's a link in my description box. Click on it. It's going to show you everything in my sectors, all the holdings that I have. And if you're just wanting to not really compare, but just to see what other stocks are out there, my recommendation is always looking at people's portfolios. Take a look at mine, see what it is that I'm holding. Maybe I'm holding something you're not even aware of, and then it kind of sparks an interest. You do your own research and you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll add that, or nah, I'm not going to add that one. And when I look back at my journey of creating my dividend portfolio, that was kind of the framework and my research and the mindset that I had early on, was just kind of taking a look at other people's portfolios and getting curious as to what it is that they're holding, and then doing my own research. Take a look at that link if you're curious about it. And as far as my sectors, friends, I have it broken down into tech, I have real estate, I have consumer staples, financials, utilities, an index fund ETF. I have them separated: industrials, healthcare, communications, energy, materials, and consumer discretionary. And then if I had to put these from my largest sector allocation to my lowest, real estate, I have it set at 13%, consumer staples at 12%, and you can kind of just see here on your own. 10 for my ETF and index funds. 10% of my portfolio I want to have in tech. If you actually look, my actual is 19%. I'll tell you guys why in a minute. And then utilities, I have it set at 10, 9%, 8%. And you can see the actual percentages on these are somewhat off target. It's because my portfolio is quite unbalanced because of one holding in particular. It's the NVIDIA holding that I have. When I got it, I pretty much got all my shares at the very beginning, and then it just continued to just skyrocket. As you guys know, it's given me a 1,793% overall return, and I had it set at 28% of my tech sector, which is 10% of my portfolio, and it's just engulfed everything else, and it's at 63%, and there's nothing I've done about it. They've had stock splits, it's gained in price, it's just continued to give me more and more. So it's the golden child of my portfolio, which I think a lot of us, will probably eventually over time have that golden child. For me, I have no reason at the moment to sell any part of it. I'm pretty much writing it on house money. I sold $2,000 of it, which was about my cost basis last year, to go to Greece. So I used that money for Greece, paid a good chunk of my Greece trip with it, and now I'm just sitting on house money, as they say, with Nvidia. So it is my golden child. And as far as like the best return for each sector, as you guys know, tech is my best one now, financials is my second best, energy is my third best, industrials is a sub 100% gain. Still good though at 85%. And then as far as my worst sector, as performing sector, we have healthcare, minus 10%. I work as a nurse by trade, if you're curious. So, I believe in my healthcare, but healthcare here in the United States, at least, it's a broken capitalistic system. And especially now, there's a lot of business coming out of it. It is what it is here, unfortunately. And in consumer staples, it is down. I call it pretty much flatlined, minus 1%, not much. And if I take a look in here, just to show you guys, I have Philip Morris, Procter & Gamble, Pepsi, Co., JM Smucker, and ADM. But click on that link if you want to see more in depth into each sector. It'll show you exactly everything that I'm holding if you do that. Now, let me show you guys my activity section here just quickly. I did have a buy, I did have a sell. I believe there's a spin-off from UGI or MDU. I don't remember exactly who it was. But anyways, I got ECG. I didn't really care much about it, don't know anything about it, didn't even bother to research. It wasn't one that I bought from the beginning. It wasn't one I'm interested in holding now. So I sold that, and then I bought more. I reinvested those funds back into that sector. So that's why there's a couple purchases here and then one sell there. Another buy here. See, I got the ECG here. And then these are all dividend payouts, right? Everything in the green. $4 from ABM, AT&T is paying me $15, Verizon $18, JP Morgan Chase $15, McGrath RentCorp $4, and here's a drip, right? So every time I get paid dividends, I drip it right back. I buy right back in this portfolio, and I allow M1 with this really cool feature to do its thing. It just automatically is dripping everything back into their formula, their algorithm that they use, and I've been doing that ever since I started this portfolio. So using their algorithm, using their drip, it's given me that good percentage return for my portfolio. So I've just continued to allow it, and it really takes a lot of pressure off me. I don't really come in and look at my portfolio very often. At the least once a week, maybe 2-3 times a week, just to take a peek at it, especially when the market's kind of exciting. But otherwise, I don't really do much, and especially right now, because I'm not funneling anything. But when I was funneling, it was on automatic anyway. I really like the hands-off approach to investing. It's just my preference. And just to see the best performers, I'll just show you guys. Nvidia is the best performer. It's given me $11,377 back. Oracle has given me $765, 162%. Exxon 148%, Aflac 117%, Snap-on 82%, JP Morgan Chase 79%, and so on, right? My least best performers, or I guess my worst performers, I should say. I have a couple now. Look at, so I got UGI and Pfizer at the bottom, practically about the same. Verizon minus 16%, Sunoco minus 12, AMT minus 11, 11, 10, and here we are. So it gets a little better. O minus 8%, and then it kind of climbs from there. So yeah, just to give you guys an example. So let me tell you guys a little bit update about how much I'm funding my portfolio at the moment. So at the moment, like I said, it's zero. It's frozen. I took a pay cut, to become a nurse consultant working from home. It's an entry-level position. It is a promotion, but it was a downsize in pay from what I was getting paid before, because I was making quite a bit working at the state prison. I was making around $134,000 working as an RN at the state prison earlier this year. And then around May, I started my current job where I'm fully remote. I get to work from home. I actually work as a nurse consultant still for the state of California, which is nice because I'm still working for that pension, and I got vested this year. But because of that pay cut being substantial, about $25,000, I've been feeling it. It's been a trickle effect. Like every single month I've been feeling it more and more until I'm baselining. I'm getting closer and closer to that baseline, but I'm still feeling it, especially this month and during the holidays. It gets pretty tight. But because of that, I'm actually thinking about, wanting to make a big decision, right? I'm thinking about actually paying off my Toyota Camry. I have about $4,000 left on it, and then that'll open up about $400 every single month. It's not something I've been wanting to do, but it's something that I feel like I should do just to give myself a little bit more wiggle room every month, right? I'd rather have that money invested, especially in the markets right now as they're doing well, but when it comes to life and my ability to breathe each month, I can use that $400. It's either that or try to find another way to kind of get some income. But, I'm not one who likes working overtime. And in my current job, I can't work overtime. It's kind of capped at a salary. For me, I just figured that might be a hit that I might have to take. But then it'll open up $400 every single month. And then my idea is, okay, maybe now I can start to invest in this dividend portfolio again, even if it's starting slow with $100 a month and just easing back into it, right? So that's kind of my goal and my mindset for that. So don't be surprised if, on my next video, I'm not at 100K anymore, but it's something that I figured I should do. I'm still thinking about it. So we'll see. You'll see on the next video. So we talked about the sector allocations, the number of holdings. We saw a peak. So yeah, let me give you a little bit more of the data of the portfolio. So here we are a little bit more into the data, the portfolio. You guys did see on that other section, I do have 50 holdings. If I sell a portion of this portfolio, I will probably sell some of the losers, right? I'm going to sell some of the losers and it may drop my holdings amount. So you'll see, I might sell off out of them completely. So don't be surprised if you see a decrease in holdings number, but as of now it's 50. And as far as my dividend yield, it's 2.916%. It's pretty good. I'm happy anywhere between like 2.6 and 3.4. And then my expense ratio is very low at 0.01% because I do, for the most part, manage my portfolio. So that is the data if you've been curious. So let me talk a little bit now about my short and long-term plans. So I'll start with the long-term plan. The long-term plan hasn't changed. It continues to be to retire at the age of 50 with my pension from the state of California with this dividend portfolio. Hopefully with at least one real estate property. I'm hoping, maybe a duplex, maybe a vacation rental. I don't know yet, but I've invested a lot in career development. That's where a lot of my money has gone, in getting a master's degree. So I can get a very flexible job with the state where I get paid more over time. So I haven't bought real estate. I've been hoping to get into it by this point. I'm 29 years old. That's not the case, but my overall long-term goal is to retire at the age of 50 in a very comfortable position. So we'll see. My short-term plan, like I said, it's considering selling a chunk of this portfolio to pay off my loan for my car that I still have left, around $3,000-$4,000, and that'll open up some cash for me. And then that cash opening up will just let me feel better with this pay cut that I took, and I can hopefully start to trickle a little bit, turn the faucet on per se, back for this dividend portfolio. And I'm going to likely make that decision sometime soon if I do make it, either this month or next month. So I'll keep you guys updated either way. And now, how much does my dividend portfolio currently pay me in dividends? So I'm going to show you guys on my phone app. I did use the M1 system for a little bit, but there's a pretty large discrepancy this time. And, I don't know if I fully trust it. So I'll just show you guys from the app itself. So as you guys can see here on the DivTracker app, we're at $100,239.51, only just 1 penny off, which is pretty good and pretty close for the app itself. But you could see, all the holdings are here. Let's just cut to it here. So my annual dividend income is $2,538.81. So we did cross that $2,500 mark. Per the DivTracker app, my yield is 2.53%. So I don't know how they calculate it, but it's like I also feel like there's a little bit of a discrepancy there because M1 had like 2.9% of a yield. Here it's 2.5%. So I don't know. Maybe it's somewhere in between. I don't know which one to believe. It's like unless I really get into it and do it myself, maybe I can make it the most accurate, but I'm just rolling with it for now. I'm not depending on the income at this moment, so it's not like a deal breaker. But if I do break it down monthly, it's kind of fun. It's $211. If I break it down daily, it's almost $7. So $7 daily, it's not bad. It's almost enough. Or it might be enough for like a black coffee. I don't know if at Starbucks, but maybe at McDonald's. And so let's go into the topic now for today's video, friends. I just have some quick thoughts. I'm just going to run through them on reaching the 100K mark. I'll go through them one by one. And, these are just the thoughts that I've had ever since hitting this point. So the first one is as life happens, this all gets harder. The financial strategy that you have, right, it's going to change, it's going to evolve, and you're going to have to adapt, right? Life continues to happen. Like I said at the beginning of the video, all those things in my life have happened since I've started this dividend portfolio. Life is not going to just stop happening. It's going to continue to happen. So as it continues to happen to you, investing, saving, trying to make more money, it's all in a way going to get harder. It's going to get harder to be financially well off. And then you can even extend that further to, this whole game of capitalism and inflation and everything going on in our economy. It does seem like everything is financially just getting harder. Overall, it's just a thought that I had. And this next one here, it didn't look as I planned it. So when I was 24 years old, right, when I started this dividend portfolio for the first time, like 24 and a half, I had thought it was going to look a certain way. I was investing $500 every week. I'm like, okay, I can keep up with this pace. I have a good nurse salary. At the time, I was living in an apartment. I had one dog. My expenses were lower. We didn't really desire vacations and trips and memories and experiences and eating good food. And, life was just different. It just looked so different back then. Well, like I said in this first point, life happened, and my initial plan had to change. It had to evolve. It went from investing $500 every week to then like $400 and then $300 and then $200 and then nothing. You know what I mean? So it continues to change. But at the end of it, over the span of 4.5 years or so, I still ended up with a portfolio the size of $100,000 through the just effort of consistency and showing up. I didn't really turn off the faucet until about these last 2 months. Until then, the water was running. It was trickling in to this portfolio and watering this tree. So just keep that in mind and, allow it to be an ego check. There's a couple parts of me that had to take those hits as I was making those adjustments when I really, really didn't want to. But overall, and life continues to happen. And sometimes you have to let it. And as you let it, you have to change and evolve and grow. For this next thought, it's better to overshoot with ambition going in. So if I had to give you guys one of the biggest tips, right, in terms of how I reached this portfolio size, maybe as quickly, or we could just say in the span of 4.5 years. It's at the very beginning, I was very ambitious. I was aggressive with my funding and aggressive with my goal. I was investing $500 every week, but because I was that aggressive at the beginning and that ambitious at the start, it allowed that same energy to kind of like keep up over time. There's a big difference between starting at $100 and thinking that's aggressive and then cutting back to $80, $70, $60 a month. No, like I was investing $500 every week, and then that later became $400 every week. Like it's still a lot of money. So being that aggressive early on allowed me, even though I dampened it over time, to still maintain a really good pace, if that makes sense. And then this next point, be aggressive any chance you get. So like I showed you guys on the chart, right? 2 weeks ago, the market took a dip. If I had powder, if I had cash on the side, I would have put more in. And those are those moments where you got to be aggressive. So you got to be aggressive any chance you get. After you're in the markets for a while, you're going to see, the overall trend is up, right? And you're going to see when the trend maybe for a moment is flat or when it's going down. But you can see that when it's going up and all of a sudden there's a big old dip that doesn't make sense, it's going to come back up. Even you zoom out, it's going to go up anyway, right? The overall trend of the picture of the graph, right? The Dow Jones, my portfolio, the market, the economy. It is the dollar value goes up. Maybe it's bad, right? Because it's inflation. But regardless, it's an asset that you're holding and it's going to go up in value. So when you see these little dips, right? When you see these little quote unquote market crashes, be aggressive. Be aggressive and actually fund more. See that as an opportunity. I've done that maybe a handful of times in my portfolio. I remember doing it more so early on. Like I had already invested my $500 for the week at the very beginning, right in my very early phases, and I would see some big dips and I'd throw in another 200, see a bigger dip, throw another 200. That's how this thing works. So be aggressive, stay aggressive any chance you get, especially as you hold cash. My very last point, friends, I felt achievement, right, in hitting this 100K mark, but not as much as I thought. And I'll elaborate. So I remember hitting that 100K mark and taking that screenshot and posting it here on YouTube, right? I appreciate all your guys' support and celebration in that. I wanted for a moment, to also recognize that was an achievement. when I look back at the very beginning of my journey, I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I hit 100K. I can't wait till I hit it. Like, I was even more excited of that achievement. And when it hit, I was like, oh, wow, like, yeah, I hit it. Like, I've been staring at this screen, staring at this number go up for a very long time, right? Over 4.5 years. And then now I finally hit it. So it's like I was happy. I was excited. I felt the achievement. But I wasn't as excited as I thought I would have been, years ago. And, part of it is just watching the portfolio mature over time, right? Just knowing that, it was going to hit. It was inevitable. The fundamentals were there, the consistency was there, everything was put in place. It was just a matter of time that it was going to hit. And I didn't know exactly when, but it was just a matter of time. So it was just a random thought that I wanted to share towards the end, because it's important to celebrate it, but it may not feel the way you think it's going to feel when it comes. And I had this saying that kind of reminds me of this all, which is, you're ready for something when you feel the same feeling as if it would happen or it didn't happen, if that makes sense. Like when you get the thing and it's not supposed to change you, is kind of like an easier way to think about it. Like that's when you're ready for something, is when when you get that thing, it's not going to change you. Like another example would be, you're getting that sports car of your dreams. Well, when you're younger, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that thing. I'm going to drive it so fast. I'm going to show it off to everybody. And then maybe when you're older and you can finally afford to get it, you get the car and nothing changes, right? You're like, oh yeah, it's just another car. I'm not going to drive it all fast and crazy. Like I'm just going to cruise. Like, I got the car. I'm a different person now. I'm a more grown person. But anyways, friends, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being on this journey with me. If you've been here on this journey since, let's say prior to 20K, leave a comment down below and say, hey, I've been here since before 20K, or I've been here with you since the beginning. This channel has evolved in a lot of different ways. 100K is a big deal, in the sense of this journey, right? So if you've been here for a while, I want to thank you guys a lot. You guys have been here. You've seen me grow. You've heard me grow. And life is just going to continue to happen. So as I always say, and as this channel name infers, time continues to tick. And I'll see you guys on the next one.